Hi, how are you? It is Tuesday, September 6th, and here's a few words from me. It's been a long time since I've done a video. And the reason is it's been summer, my son's been home from school, and just impossible to get things done. And it's been very busy otherwise too. So I decided to leave the videos until my son started school, which was today. So here I am. Anyway, it's been a long summer with a lot of heat, forest fires, and a lot of pilgrims and tourists. So with that said, I show you what I looked at when I walked down to do this recording today. And we have rain. It's been raining today and yesterday quite good, which is nice. So the forest fires, I think, should not be an issue anymore, at least not in Galicia. The forest fires this year has been, there not been that many, but the ones that we've had they've been very big and done a lot of harm. So this water should take care of that. Also, we've had droughts because we had very little rain coming into the summer. And the summer's been like, there was one afternoon we had one rain shower in June, and then hasn't really rained until lately. So this is going to actually help us a lot too with the water reservoirs. It actually is so bad that in some places in Galicia they have 1 or 2 hours of water a day. So the municipalities just turn off the water because there's no more. So a day or two of rain is not going to fix that, but it's going to help. And hopefully in the next few days, we'll continue to get a little bit of rain. Just not like this every day, please. Anyway, otherwise, what's going on? COVID-wise, it's better. We have had, coming in the spring and coming into the summer, there was a little bit of COVID around. We could see on the forum, we had pilgrims getting infected and, all kinds of problems that generated. There's less of it now. I'm not saying it's still here, because it is still here, but it's less of it. So I would not consider it more of a threat to you than if you were out and about where you live. So just be careful. The laws in Galicia and in Spain right now are still the same as when we enter the summer, meaning there really are no restrictions except for when you public transport, you need to have a mask. Or also pharmacies, you need to have a mask when you enter. And any medical or doctor, hospital, anything like that, you need to have a mask. Except for that, there's no restrictions. And the numbers are looking good. I don't have the exact numbers right now. It's less talked about in the media as well. But the last report I saw was from a week or two ago, and we were low, COVID-wise. So it's not gone, but it's not a big thing. What else? Compostelas. We've had a lot of pilgrims this year. This summer has been crazy. It's a whole year, of course. And we just passed last week Compostela number 300,000. So we have passed, a few weeks ago, we passed the number of Compostela compared to the whole 2010, which was the previous whole year before 21-22. So it's been record number of pilgrims, and I feel like it's been record number of tourists in general. Because, of course, August is the holiday month in Spain, and this August in Santiago was just crazy, especially down by the Cathedral. It was so much that I tried to avoid it down there, really. So August ended, and it was funny. Just as the last day of August came by, you could see the number of people in town went down by a lot. Tourists went home, they had to go work. And now we're back to, I would say, normal. So the crowds in Santiago now is not a problem. I've seen on the forum that there's a September wave kind of coming on down the Frances. I'm thinking people are they've decided to do the walk in September, starting the first or the first few days of September. and that crowd is coming down, which means that probably in a day or two, there's a day of two there where people are walking together, and it's kind of busy. But I'm assuming that right before that wave, it's fine. I mentioned a record number of Compostelas. Most of those Compostelas are those walking the last 100 kilometers. So on the Frances, that's from Sarria. So I don't think there's a problem with lodging anything like that before Sarria. And it might not even be from Sarria that you probably should be fine even now. It might have been a problem in August and July, but I think it's easier now. So if you should reserve ahead or not, it's up to you, but don't stress too much about it, I think. What else? Now, I talked to some people that have been volunteering at the Pilgrim's office, because we've had days with 5,000, one day with 5,000 Compostelas. It was 4,983, I think. So that's a lot I think they're like at maximum capacity, they're at 12 or 13 desks at the Pilgrim's office. And then they have a separate space downstairs for groups. And from what I've heard is that you're considered a group if you are 3 or more together. So what they've done, and it seems to work quite nicely, because I haven't seen a lot of people queuing up outside, and I haven't seen a lot of complaints on the forum either of queues. Because in 2010, last whole year, I remember when the Pilgrim's office was up here in Rua Nova, we had people lined up around the corner, up the street, and you had to stand in line. There was no queuing system. So compared to that, I think they're doing much better now. So right now what they're doing, if you're 1 or 2 walking together, you do the scanning of the QR code and you get your line, and you do your Compostelas upstairs in that office where most people do it. If you're 3 or more people, you're sent down around the corner and then on down the side entrance, and then one of you go inside and enter the information of the rest of the group, and that's how the Compostela is generated. And that seems to work, because I haven't seen, when I've been passing by the Pilgrim's office, I haven't seen a lot of people queuing. And from what I've heard on the forum as well, it seems to work, which is good. What else? There are some mask requirements. I know some people have been talking about this on the forum, and there's been some writing on this on the papers as well, because I mentioned that there are no COVID restrictions in Spain right now, but it seems the Cathedral has decided they are requiring masks for people entering the Cathedral. So, and some people get surprised by this. So I just want to let you know that if you are going into the Cathedral when you are in Santiago, you need to put on a mask. By the way, masks and PCR tests can easily be bought at any pharmacy. A PCR test, 3 or 4 euros. So you don't have to bring it unless you want to from home. And masks as well. You can find them anywhere. Even at supermarkets, you get the masks. What else? Businesses in Santiago next year. We've had a fantastic summer for businesses, especially in Old Town. But remember that people are still paying down their COVID debt. What do I mean by that? When COVID hit in Spain, the government gave businesses that wanted it a credit. So it's not a gift, it's a credit, and people are given 2 or 3 years to pay it back. So people are now paying back this loan. So I'm sure most companies and most businesses in Santiago and around Spain are, especially those related to tourism, have been doing well in the summer because we have a lot of tourists. But now the winter season hits, and I've already seen a few places in Old Town Santiago that have closed down. Not sure if it has to do with the amount of debt they have to pay back or not, but it's a thing. So although it seems like we have done with COVID and we've had record numbers of tourists, there are companies that are still and places that are still struggling. What else? Yes, I have a wheelchair downstairs. Now, why am I mentioning this, you may ask? because I've been mentioning it on the forum, and this was a gift to me from some pilgrims from Australia. Just before the pandemic, they were going to do a Camino, and they did it with someone that needed a wheelchair, and they specially made it in New Zealand for the Camino, very rugged. They shipped it to Australia, took it with them to Spain, walked the Camino with it, and then they didn't want to take the cost of shipping it back, so they decided to give it to me. So I have it downstairs. I'm going to do a special a new video on it. I just hadn't had a chance to do it yet, but my idea is that if you know, or you have, or someone that needs a wheelchair and are looking to walk the Camino or do a Camino with it, I can give you a wheelchair. You could borrow it. That's the idea. So it doesn't have any cost or anything. You just have to make sure that it works, and then you bring it back in the same state that you found it in. And that's my idea. That's the idea, is that you come and you try it out, and if it works for you, then you could use it. But I'm going to do a special video on it. I just mention it now because I have had people emailing me and asking me on the forum as well about the wheelchair. I'm going to do a video on it. I had a visit from a very nice gentleman, I forgot his name, sorry, from the Confraternity of St. James. And they have made a guide, because if you walk, for example, the Camino Ingles from Coruña, it's not 100 kilometers, so you won't comply, or you won't get the Compostela if you walk from Coruña. But if you walk a few kilometers in England before you get here, they will give you the Compostela even if you start from Coruña. They will add the kilometers in England to the ones you walked from Coruña, and you are fine. So this is a guide that the Confraternity of St. James has made from Reading to Southampton, and the Camino is marked, and the guide it's nice. And if that's something you're thinking of, I would go to the website of the Confraternity of St. James and look for this guide. I think it's just out, 2022 edition. So if that's something that interests you, have a look at this guide, because that's a new route that has been put together by the guidebook has been put together by the Confraternity of St. James. So that's very nice. What else? I think that's it. So I'm trying to do a video every week this starting now, because I have more time to do it. So with that, let me give you I set up a webcam in the window. It stopped raining. This is what it looks like outside right now. So with that, hope things are good where you are. Stay safe. Ciao.